So in this video, I'm going to be showing you some advice and some mistakes to avoid as a lieutenant in the Army. This is going to be different than any of the advice that you get from the cookie cutter ROTC, OCS, or any other commissioning source. It's the stuff that people just kind of don't tell you. And in return, if somebody could figure out how to lower the gas prices, that'd be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get to it. So it is about 80 degrees here in Houston, Texas. I had to get that cold brew and it is really, really good. Alright guys, so this leads me to my first point here, and this is a lot of things that they don't tell you. Like I said, this is going to be anti-cookie cutter and all that good stuff. That is the concept of emotional intelligence. And people mess this up a lot. So not only do you have maybe a family, goals, and ambitions, but your soldiers also have a family, goals, and ambitions. And during COVID, oh my goodness, you can see who understood this concept and who didn't. So you need to understand your soldiers at an emotional level. You know, what drives them, what gives them to operate at their peak optimal intelligence, drive, and high hopes, really. Because if you can relate to your soldiers, they're going to go to the ends of the earth for you. And yes, according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, they have to follow all lawful orders and tasks that you give to them. But when you're not looking, if they think you're being a complete jerk or just insensitive, then that means that they will half-ass the job for you. Yes, they will get it done, but that does not mean that they're going to get it done optimally. Okay, so guys, take that and run with it, because in any manual that you read in the military, it's just going to have dry leadership theory, which is not a bad thing. But I just want to make you aware that emotional intelligence is key. A person that I like to read more about this is Simon Sinek. So grab one of his books and get to it. All right, next point. All right, guys, so we're just walking it out. Waiting for my camera to focus. So we just got done doing 5 miles and about a 9:14, a nice slow run to recover. So this leads me to my next concept of physical fitness, right? And you hear this cookie cutter advice every commissioning source that you go to. Oh, you got to be the leader out front. You got to do this. You got to do that. But the point that I'm going to say is that, one, you signed up for a job, right? And any job has requirements that you can choose to either do the baseline or you can go above and beyond. So being physically fit can save you from a lot of things. One, if you underperform one day, let's just say you go and crush it for PT the next day, and then all of a sudden your sins are forgiven, depending on other factors. One, if you don't make the same mistake again. Two, if you're just not putting days after days of underperformance together. So what I tend to see on my stint on active duty is that people coming from like frat houses or fraternities in college, not really taking it seriously, and they're kind of asking themselves, what's the bare minimum that I can do to still skate by? And that's a pretty crappy attitude to have, especially since you're training America's sons and daughters in the United States military. If that's who, you probably should reevaluate why you're doing this. Yeah, so I know that PT is always kind of like over-construed as this utilitarian concept, but one, be good at your day job, and two, if you mess up, just make sure you're good physically on the back end to kind of make up for it. So yeah, lead from the front. So what's going on, guys and gals? So had to go get that fresh fade, because it is really hot in Houston, and humidity with long hair does not do the thing. So this next point, and I cannot believe that I am actually saying this because I feel like it's common sense. But then again, the next wave of young officers is coming from the generation that like to start the trend of stacking pyramids of milk crates together and scaling to the top of them. But that's being a good human being, a good adult, and just respectful to other people. So in the officer corps, it's not really a good thing to talk behind people because you never know when you're going to have to need them later on in your career. Feels like it should be common sense, but a lot of people just tend to throw people under the bus and it tends to bite them back later. I'll give you a little bit of a case study here, but first I'm going to break up the monotony with a little verse from my boy Gary Vaynerchuk, and it goes, when you're the leader, you have to be the bigger man or woman in any given situation. You swallow your pride and work to make sure that the team is executing as needed. Okay, so there I was at PT, aka physical training, and I was working out right next to some headquarters captain. He was the commander. Supposed to be an upstanding member of society, I guess not. So literally he walked up to me and told me I am annoying on Instagram in front of all these soldiers. Obviously, he put a little bit more in front of that. But instead of making one, the dude doesn't follow me, so how would you know? That's kind of creepy if you're stalking me. Yeah, I didn't know that working out and motivational stuff sometimes bothers people, but there's a lot of other nasty things people put on the internet, but that's besides the point. But you had junior people just running around, you had other junior soldiers, senior leaders. So I just decided to go finish my pull-up set somewhere else because this person probably spent hours in his office thinking about this conversation, thinking he got one up on me, and I wasn't even fazed. I was just like, wow, you spent all this time with this built-up aggression just for me not to care. But leading back to what I was saying before, you just got to be the bigger person. If there's somebody that you kind of run into that you quote-unquote don't like for whatever reason, you still have to make it work. I'm sorry, that's how being an adult works. That's how the Army works. You got to have that mutual respect, even if it's not friendship. Okay, so now that we got that out the way, be a good human. See you back in the boom mic. Okay, we are back at the crib because I feel like that I need to deliver this next story with all the drama that it deserves. So, yeah, I lost a generator as a maintenance platoon leader. Now, if you are tuning in and you're probably thinking that this guy is an idiot, then you and me have something in common. Because you're probably wondering, how did he do that? Now, I'm not gonna make too many excuses, but this leads me to my next point of property accountability. As an LT, you're going to be in charge of a lot of property, probably a lot more in your life based on your age. And if anything crazy happens, you will get ridiculed and possibly it could come out of your paycheck. So know the regulations, know the players involved, and have good systems. And most importantly, if you don't know, ask. This is something that they don't really teach in the ROTC. I had a very subpar supply team and that kind of burned me at the end. But they found a generator. It was somewhere in Tucson, Arizona at some sort of auction. But man, it was just a dramatic event and I got cooked up for quite a long time. So just make that cognizant. If you don't have a good supply team, seek one out. Talk to some of your buddies that are good with property. Just know that if anything crazy happens, that there's no friends of property. It's nuts. So yeah, I'm not even gonna go back and open up those open wounds because yeah, that takes me back to some scar tissue. But yeah, that wraps up the video. And if I have to say one more point, just make sure that every day you show up and you try, because at the end, character, that's all that really matters. So I'll see you on the next episode.